Hey guys, it's Root. This is not a book fair or anything. Let me show you kind of some of the grouping. This is about a fourth of the books that I actually took out of my storage to show on this video. I'm going to ask you guys for help with the little project that I am doing. You probably see my shadow because I haven't filmed in quite a while. I've been doing other things, you know. Life catches up to you and you get into things like that. But the books are books that I purchased myself, not only from my local library, but when I travel to different cities, I always stop at the library because that's one of the big things for me. I love reading. I love giving books to children. Some of them always think, why are you giving me this terrible gift? But for me as a child, that was a great escape, reading and going to the reading mobile. For all the ones that are my age group, if you remember Riff, give a Yahoo! Or whatever you want to do. But reading is fundamental and all that. But I'm going to ask you for your help on a project, and I'll be back in just a second. Let me pause so I can sit down. I'm sitting down now. Thank you, cameraman, for filming this. He always says I get on a tirade and can't stay focused. But anyway, one of the reasons I filmed this is I am asking my friends and also my friends on YouTube, if possible, when you're out with your children, not just toys and video games and all the things that kids want these days, can we please take them by the library? So many of our books are being discarded, not just books about African Americans, but Lebanese, Jewish, Asian, people from the islands, African folk tales, fairy tales, even biblical based stories. Because the parents are not bringing the children to the libraries, a lot of libraries are purging. If you keep up with things like that in the news, libraries are not the centers that they once were for children to flock to. Now they're going to the malls, to the video stores, things like that. So if a book, for instance, because they always say I only focus on one type. This is a book about a little Mongolian girl, the Khan's daughter. First off, all these books were purchased with my money. Some of these books are $10, $15, $30 books, which I purchased for 30 cents. To me, that's just crazy. Because the books have not been checked out in 2 to 3 years, they are purging them from shelves for new books, like, for instance, Olive the Pig. I've never read that book, but a friend of mine's kids are very excited about that. So if you're not going to the library with your children, checking out books that are older than, I'd say, 10 years old. For instance, look at the imagery in some of these books. I mean, that to me is just amazing that you pull this off the shelf. So if these books are being pulled off the shelf and sold, and if they're not sold in a certain length of time, they're given to thrift stores, and then if they're not sold in, they're either shipped, I don't know where, or probably even thrown into the dump. There have been times that I have gone to different thrift stores and things that they just could not sell, they've thrown them in the dump. And this is unacceptable. If our children are to keep up, if we are to keep up, if we are to continue our culture and share cross-cultural learning, one of the first things that we have to do is take our kids to the library. So I'm asking everybody, can you please, if you're at your library, check your discard, check with your librarian, find out the things that she's pulling off the shelf or he's pulling off the shelf. Why are they pulling these books? Because my librarian, if she sees this video, she'll probably come after me because I am always in there because it's not far from my job. I'm always asking her, and what's wrong with this book? I mean, what would be wrong with a book about Muhammad Ali? Very pertinent fellow, 30 cents. Let's see how much is this book. This book originally US was $17.95. Beautiful pictures, beautiful story. Let me open this book a bit. I usually don't have tirades, but sometimes I do. Why would you discard this? But if no one is checking the book out, let me show you some of the things that are by, this is the stack I labeled as famous. Duke Ellington, Muhammad Ali, even the Williams sisters. So most kids today know who the Williams sisters are. I mean, 30 cents for a $20 book because no one is checking it out. It's sitting there on the shelf so long. So can we please take a moment, take our kids to the library, or even just pick the books up and distribute them in your neighborhood, or when a child comes over to visit, or take them to your Bible study classes and give your books out. Not just for the African American parents, but the Mongolian parents, also the Asian parents. I mean, it's just not one culture per se. I did not have a lot of books by Caucasians because at my library, a lot of those books were not purged off the shelf, because when I have walked past reading group, of the 15 children that are sitting in the circle, 14 of them are Caucasian. So I don't really know what the reason is or what's going on, but parents, can please, please, please try to hang on to some of these fairy tales, try to hang on to some of these folklore, so that these stories are carried on, because once the stories are gone, no one is going to remember. Thank you guys. See you later.